Boost your TOEFL speaking skills with Englobe's Power Evaluation. Access dozens of sample exams and receive immediate evaluation with improvement suggestions. Try Englobe's cutting-edge learning solutions to make your TOEFL, IELTS, and GRE preparation much easier.
Now listen to part of a lecture in American history class.
So, in our previous lectures, we've been discussing different aspects of the American West during the 19th century. Today, we'll be focusing on the role of cattle drives and cowboys in shaping the culture and economy of the Wild West. Now, can anyone here give me a brief idea about what cattle drives were?
They were when cowboys moved large herds of cattle from one place to another, right?
That's correct. Cattle drives were a significant part of the Wild West and played a crucial role in the development of the region. These drives typically involved moving large herds of cattle from ranches in Texas to railheads in Kansas, where the cattle could be loaded onto trains and transported to markets in the East. This was necessary because, at the time, there was a high demand for beef in the East but limited transportation options. Now, let's discuss the cowboys' role in these cattle drives. Cowboys were the skilled horsemen responsible for managing and moving the cattle. They had to deal with a range of challenges during these drives, such as extreme weather conditions, stampedes, and potential conflicts with Native American tribes or outlaws. The life of a cowboy was not an easy one, as they had to work long hours, sleep under the stars, and often had limited access to proper food and supplies.
Weren't cattle drives also important for the growth of towns in the West?
Absolutely. The cattle drive routes often led to the development of cow towns along the way. These towns, such as Abilene and Dodge City in Kansas, served as important rest stops for cowboys and their herds. These cow towns provided essential services like food, supplies, and entertainment, and often became thriving centers of commerce and social life. It's interesting to note that cattle drives and cowboys had a significant impact on the popular culture of the time. Wild West shows, dime novels, and later movies and television shows all romanticized the life of the cowboy and their role in the cattle drives, often creating a mythical image of the Wild West that still persists today.
So, how long did the era of cattle drives last?
The era of cattle drives was relatively short-lived, lasting from around the 1860s to the 1880s. The expansion of the railroad network, the introduction of barbed wire fencing, and the decline of the open range all contributed to the end of the cattle drive era. However, the legacy of the cowboy and the cattle drives left a lasting impact on American culture and the perception of the Wild West. Now let's consider the economic impact of cattle drives in the Wild West. At the time, there was a significant price difference between cattle in Texas and the markets in the East. This made cattle drives a profitable venture for ranchers who could earn a considerable profit by driving cattle to railheads in Kansas and selling them at higher prices. In fact, cattle drives stimulated the economies of the regions they passed through. As cowboys and their herds moved along the trails, they would need to purchase supplies, food, and other necessities. This increased demand for goods and services led to the growth of businesses in cow towns, which in turn attracted more settlers, further contributing to the development of these communities.
Now answer the following questions. Now listen to a conversation between a student and her professor.
Hi, Carol. It's great to see you. How are you today?
Hello, Professor Johnson. I'm doing well. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something. I've been speaking to some of the other professors in the theater arts department, and we've been discussing the idea of starting a club for students interested in this field.
That sounds interesting, but what does that have to do with me?
Well, Carol, you are one of our top students in the theater class, and you're always so enthusiastic about the subject. We were hoping you would consider starting this club.
I appreciate the offer, Professor, but I'm not sure I'm up to the task. Starting a club sounds like a lot of responsibility.
I understand your hesitation, but I will help you to get started and will keep supporting you along the way. And I'm sure you'll find that starting this club can be a great opportunity to put your passion and skills to use.
I appreciate your offer, Professor, but I'm still not sure if I'm ready for this kind of responsibility. I have a lot on my plate already with my coursework and extracurricular activities.
I understand your concerns, but I think it's important to take on new challenges and opportunities that can help you grow both personally and professionally, and starting this club can be a great addition to your resume and portfolio.
That's a good point, but what if I can't handle it and the club ends up failing?
That's a risk we always face when starting something new, but I have faith in you, Carol. You have the passion, the skills, and the drive to make this club a success.
Well, when you put it that way, it does sound like an opportunity.
So, what do you think? Are you ready to start this club with me?
Yes, I think I am.
Great. Let's start by discussing some ideas for getting students involved and planning events. I think we should aim to have our first meeting within the next few weeks.
That sounds like a good plan. Do you have any ideas for events we could host?
Yes, I was thinking we could host a theater night where students can perform their own pieces, or we could organize a trip to see a play or a musical in the city. And there are many other possibilities. The sky is the limit.
Those are great ideas. I'm sure the students will be excited to participate.
Another idea I had was to invite guest speakers from the theater industry to come and speak to the club. This could provide students with valuable insights and opportunities for networking.
That's a fantastic idea. I know a lot of students would love to hear from industry professionals and learn about their experiences.
Exactly. And we could also organize workshops where students can learn new skills and techniques. This would be a great way to help them develop their craft and explore their interests.
Yes, that would be amazing. I think the club could really benefit from hands-on learning experiences like that.
I think this club has the potential to be a fantastic resource for students and a great way to build community within the department.
I couldn't agree more. Let's get started and make it happen.
Now answer the following questions